So, Chad, first off, just huge thank you for being with us here today. And it's really wonderful that you could join us. Now, I know a lot of people know the Campari brand, but maybe you could just also give a quick intro about the company and also your role.
You bet, Shelly. Great to be with you today and great to be with Microsoft. Ultimately, our organization, the Campari Group, started in 1860 off of our iconic Campari brand. So the simple aperitif and the complex ingredients creating a bitter taste that is iconic and has stood the test of time. Standing off of that product, we've acquired and grown quite a bit since 1860. So this year, actually, we're celebrating our 160th birthday from that standpoint. So for us, we've grown exponentially through acquisition and building great brands. So our core principles have been 50% organic and 50% external growth. With those acquisitions, our brand portfolio is now approximately over 60 brands, including such names as Wild Turkey, Sky Vodka, to name a few.
Amazing. I mean, I think household brands, as you said, iconic brands, and the growth through acquisition and organic is amazing. So it's obviously, though, a very competitive industry, consumer goods, beers, wine, spirits. And so what's top of mind for you, especially given industry trends and especially in this COVID-19 context?
Absolutely. Well, considering my role falls in the IT organization, I service both parts of the organization, both marketing and the sales. So my role, my area, my team supports the chief marketing officer as well as the head of group commercial capabilities. So for us, and when you consider great experiences like the Aperol Spritz, it's about communication and data and flow of information from our great brand stories and how they manifest themselves with our consumers, and also giving our customers the best ability to succeed with our products on their shelves, digital or physical. During COVID, it's definitely been a dramatic shift in how we manage our relationships. You've got the fact that so many on-premise bars and restaurants have been shuttered, locked out, and locked down as a result of COVID. It's a huge part of our strategy is to empower the bartenders to be ambassadors for our brands. Those bartenders being displaced is a huge opportunity for us to help them, to connect them to our stories so that coming out of lockdown, they have the ability to drive great experiences, not only for our consumers, but in their professional lives as well. So it's more than just the brands. It's also giving them the opportunity to hone their craft and to expand their trade opportunities. So COVID has really impacted us there. Additionally, I would say COVID has impacted our organization. Teams is critical, right? So literally when we started our journey through COVID, we had not implemented Teams globally. And within a month's time frame, Teams had become the namesake of all meetings and conversations within our company. So a huge digital transformation and a huge testament to our relationship with Microsoft and its ability to drive great value for the Campari Group.
What a great story. And, thank you for the partnership. So many brands have traditionally been sort of work from work companies, and especially you with this distributed network. It's incredible, really, what you've been able to accomplish in such a short amount of time. So sort of in that vein, you've also made several acquisitions over the years. And I can only imagine that that's incredibly exciting, but also, has comes with its own challenges of all the silos and bringing new companies in. So maybe share, because that's obviously a huge theme in consumer goods, share sort of how this has impacted the business and some of the challenges you've overcome.
Well, I would say that the acceleration that occurs as a result of acquisitions is around building scalable approaches that are supported. That includes technology as well as process. And where the IT organization comes in this circumstance, specifically in my role, is choosing and selecting capabilities that drive business value and that are focused around our must-win battles as an organization. Now, when you consider acquisitions, I think I go back to my first interview with our CFO and discussing with him. My first question was, "You just acquired Grand Marnier. How quick did you assimilate Grand Marnier into the company?" And his response was 8 months. So it's a testament to the amount of acquisition we've done and the sort of principles and guidelines we've set up. So the selections that we make in regards to the partners that we develop capability with are catered around the fact that they need to be global, they need to be scalable, and they need to provide a multitude of capabilities. When you consider your intellectual property as your data, how your data is managed, where it's managed, and the type of platform that enables that data to be extendable is critical. And for us, that's where a great deal of our strategies is focused on. How do we leverage the Azure portfolio? How do we leverage the Dynamics portfolio in relation to customer insights, as well as Dynamics for marketing as a result of the COVID? How do we accelerate opportunities for our global markets? We currently distribute in 190 countries. We have 21 direct in-market companies and 22 manufacturing plants globally. So there's a great deal of information that needs to be spread and silos that need to be broken down in order to deliver a consistent experience for our consumers. And that's a great deal of our focus, is how to move the right data to the right place at the right time to make the right decision, right?
That's incredible. I mean, so many, as we all know, like 95% of acquisitions fail. And the fact that you sort of have these principles and you use your technology in order to make those acquisitions successful, and think about that from the get-go is incredible. So you talked a little bit about data as your fuel and your sources. How are you connecting your data, and maybe what insights do you have that you didn't have before?
Our journey, I guess it started many, many years back. But when I joined the organization 2 years ago, managing intellectual property as it relates to our consumers' relationship is an incredible value. Consider intellectual property how you manage your brand assets, right? The representation of your brand and the physical representation. In the same regard, those relationships with our consumers, our bartenders, and customers are incredibly important. And the data that we're able to leverage, distribute, and append, we're looking at over 200 agencies globally on the marketing side of the house. We have obviously the 21 in-market companies. We have different systems of sales, 2-tier, 3-tier, distributor, governments involved. So you have a lot of disparate sources of data. And as a result, what becomes critically important is the transport and manipulation of that data. Transport meaning, how do you take it from its source system and embed it in a lake for all intents and purposes? And then how do you harmonize and rationalize that data quickly and effectively so that the business can see value and drive decisions faster? And for us, especially with the marketing organization, we focused a great deal as a result of COVID on how we engage our bartenders and how we leverage data and the opportunities to extend our brand stories to those bartenders, to leverage our expertise in the mixology area to extend that education opportunity to those individuals. So whether it be disparate sources of data like RSVP systems that manage how people attend events, to ultimately how people engage physically through Wi-Fi, to how people engage through email. All of these critical data points provide an opportunity for us to create a tremendous experience for our consumers, our bartenders, and our customers. And ultimately, at the end of the day, that's where these products sit for us and what they drive. The combination and the value is, at an IT landscape standpoint, you get to see the opportunity. You get to see the opportunity to break down the silo across different areas of the organization to provide additional value that potentially a department wasn't seeing. Whether it's the disconnect between education resources and investment, or it's the communication investment in regards to marketing and ultimately the brand story extension. It's a great area to see and also grow and develop that relationship with our business and drive ultimately value through data.
Wow. I mean, I love that, as a former marketer myself, you're really focused on sort of that end user, whether it's, your consumer or your bartenders and how they deliver those personalized experiences or events. You have obviously been a great champion, and we've learned a lot along the way with you on sort of that single integrated platform that you have with Dynamics 365 that really connects your customer data and your marketing automation. Can you talk a little bit about sort of the value there?
Absolutely. And as we continue to have this conversation, it's not always easy. And let me be frank, we started off with a crawl, walk, run approach, and we're still in the crawl phase. So when you consider our landscape, we've integrated approximately 7 different data sources. Those 7 different data sources provide us valuable information on our consumers, right? And it helps us build that relationship and strengthen it, our brand champions, our brand loyalists. On the bartender front, we just started to initiate certain projects in certain regions. So when I speak to you about the global scale and the global capability, it is the growth potential of this platform. And it is ultimately why we chose Microsoft in the first place. Our capability to extend the platform in areas like China are incredibly important to us, to give consistency of a global template and to give that experience in marketing automation across our marketeers to simplify the training and education. The one piece that I will say that has been an extreme value, and it was originally a consideration of concern, was around our agencies being able to adopt the Microsoft stack of capability. The agencies are very creative. When they think of creative platforms, Microsoft is not normally the first name out of their mouths. So I am happy to report that after implementing in our Australia, our UK, and US market, the agencies that we partner with have been able to do many of the different things that they did before in other platforms in the Microsoft platform. Additionally, the Microsoft support that we gain from the professional services, the staff, and the product teams is unparalleled at this point in time. When you consider the likes of competition that are growing exponentially, Microsoft is playing in the same space, but is investing heavily and supporting. And I, as a client, truly, I enjoy the fact that the partnership has driven value across our company and in the implementation. And part of that is to give the ability for our partners, our agency ecosystem, and our marketeers internally to understand the opportunity and value these sort of capabilities bring. So you really have a parallel approach: upskill, educate, strengthen the muscles to be able to leverage the technology at the same time of setting the fundamentals of the technology, the governance, the controls, the integration, the sort of scalability items that are necessary to ensure that the platform lasts long term versus point-in-time solution. So for us, it's definitely been a crawl journey. And the value that we've started to identify is opportunities as simple as: what is the email open rate? What is the total acquisition that we're acquiring in consumers, in bartenders? What's their engagement level? How does their engagement level equate to actual activity in Zoom meetings or Teams meetings based upon our ambassador and education programs? These are all baseline value metrics that we're going into this and learning and growing and expanding. When you consider the fact that you have such a tremendous opportunity with the data platform to pull in different data sources, you can start to develop different value drivers and different KPIs. Obviously, part of this conversation is working closely with our marketing teams to look at non-working and working expense, right? How do we invest and how are we becoming more efficient? How is this platform driving that capability and doing so in a collaborative way across all of our departments, from the global channel and customer marketing team to ultimately the global strategic marketing teams as well.
That's a great overview, Chad, of sort of KPIs in your own journey. And I really appreciate you sharing, sort of crawl, walk, run, some hesitation in parts of your ecosystem with Microsoft, because we do face that. And I think it's important to be honest about it, and how as much as the technology and tools might be there, this is also a cultural transformation within companies and your partners and your agencies to get the adoption. So, Chad, a lot of people ask me, Microsoft has a lot of products, and sort of where do I start and what do I choose? Do you mind sharing with the audience on this journey that you've been on, how you're leveraging the Microsoft stack?
For us, the distribution of information, as something as simple as I experience a brand, I want to know what all of my options are with that brand. For us, that's a recipe. And a recipe is a lifelong journey that a liquid goes through that is complemented by other potential ingredients, right? And a recipe is part of the heritage, part of the mixology of any lore with regards to spirits. And for us, extending these great opportunities, also engaging and enabling people to understand what this bottle might provide them from just their normal pub and bar, is the opportunity that the platform provides. Now, let me illustrate that to you. Machine learning allows you to identify data opportunities, the connection between somebody who's interested in a product and a potential list of recipes that are available. Power Apps allows us the ability to engage, collect, and manage the recipes across our internal and external resources. Those are two data sources in a similar platform. The only thing that's missing is the connective tissue to say, I'm interested in a product, and there's a list of recipes that are available that can be extended directly to that individual automatically. So you can see where I'm going with the conversation is you have the opportunity to create Power Automate opportunities to enable the consumer journey using Dynamics for Marketing. So for us, you start to see the opportunity of the portfolio, which is greater than just the small piece of Dynamics for Marketing or customer insights. And then when you add on the fact that you have customer opportunities, now you can extend those recipes to customers as well. You can enable bartenders to be more effective. So the entire platform becomes a true value. And the final piece I'll leave you with is you have voice. You have language processors within the Microsoft stack. This gives you a great ability to translate. It gives you a great ability to extend. So the platform and portfolio and the different capabilities extend that opportunity. And the value that we get is by leveraging Microsoft, we get all of the other benefits of security, of where innovation is occurring, and the connective tissue to what's happening in the marketplace to ensure that we're able to do all those things, and however they manifest themselves in the future with implants or whatever.
Oh boy. Yeah, I mean, it's a great articulation that if you have, as you said, a sound data strategy and a stack of support to the extensibility for recipes, new countries, new languages, it's for your marketers, it's much easier once you've really thought the holistic stack through. This will, as you say, really evolve over time. And maybe you could talk about sort of, you talk about email open rates now, but, how do you think new solutions and how is this going to, when we're back in a year, or what highlights or results are you driving over time?
When you consider the landscape and the capabilities, we look heavily into the portfolio for the future. We think about our Camparino brand house, which is in the heart of Milano, next to the Duomo, which gives us a great connection point to our consumers, very similar to the Microsoft experience here in New York City. You have a great opportunity to develop and personify what it is the brand achieves or hopes to achieve with that consumer in real time. That, along with that individual's experience with their digital platforms, whether it be their phone or their experience in our brand houses, creates a tremendous responsibility for us to make sure that we're providing the right information, right? That we're consistent in our communication. This platform leads in that direction. whether it be our ability to enable the frontline worker who is specifically engaged in the conversation with the person ordering potentially their next Negroni based upon their experience with us. Having that data provides that frontline worker the information necessary to be even more engaging with that individual, creating that excellent experience. When you consider that's driven by data and the opportunity is given by what data and permissions we have, you can start to unravel all of the pieces along that path. The person's choice to travel, potentially the advertisements they've experienced, potentially the drink combinations that they've had at their local bar or their local pub. All of these are areas of opportunity that develop off of data that lead to an experience that we can drive. And ultimately, for us, it's that piece of premiumization that I think is incredibly important for the Campari Group and incredibly important for the experiences with our brands. This platform in the future starts to take account for all of the different data sources that might arise through time. Think about autonomous vehicles. At the point in which autonomous vehicles become widespread, they have the ability to create a new screen, a new opportunity to communicate and engage. Perhaps it's not where they're going, perhaps it's what they're going to do where they're going. And it's an opportunity to provide a great experience for that individual when they get there. Perhaps it's an experience in regards to going to CES this past January, pre-COVID, reflecting upon the fact that you can now put an LCD screen in the size of a label. So you can have a dynamic relationship at the label, at the product, to the individual or to the bartender. So there are many different ways that data will enable conversations. And we're just at the onset of omni-channel explosion. When you consider everything is a data point, a touch point, and an opportunity, it truly provides those great experiences for brands. And having a platform that can manage that data, can connect that data, can rationalize and harmonize is incredibly important and relevant to creating that experience that's the right experience to the right person at the right time.
I just love hearing you sort of tell, they make me want to go have a Campari and soda, but I think also I just love hearing you sort of really balance between sort of the consumer experience and that old world experience of these iconic brands, but then, as you say, autonomous delivery, personalized labels, and all the sort of the way in which technology can enable a great experience. Chad, I can't thank you enough. I wish I could be with you physically to actually raise a wonderful glass of one of your amazing beverages, Campari. I got the list. I was dreaming at post-COVID days, but I just love the approach you're taking, how you're thinking about your data, and how much you're teaching us about how to deliver these more personalized experiences with your customers. So huge thank you for joining me today.
You bet, Shelley. Great to partner with you guys and looking forward to the future.
Me too.